Business owners, do you create all sorts of plans and then have trouble sticking to them? The problem might not be the plans. It could be you. In fact, it's likely you, and sadly, you likely know that it's you. In today's video, we're going to address the one fatal flaw that is baked in the cake with most plans, and that is our own head trash. Let's get to it. Welcome to the video. So taking out the trash, the head trash that is, what does head trash look like? I think we all know, but let me share some of my own favorite head trash, and maybe some of it is stuff that you can relate to. Procrastination, seeking perfection. How about doing the unnecessary? I'll do those sales calls as soon as I, organize all of my paper clips at my desk. How about hiding in activity, which means I'm just super busy, but I'm not very effective. I'm not doing the important things. I'm doing the urgent, but not the important. How about hiding in inactivity, where you have so many things to do that you don't know what to start on first, where that you have that list of 99 things on your to-do list? How about lying to yourself, where you're way overly optimistic about what you can accomplish, or overly optimistic about the reality of the situation, or overly optimistic in how long something will take? How about setting impossible standards? I'll retire when I have $5 million liquid in my checking account, and you've never made more than $30,000 a year. How about starting things and not finishing things? Allowing distractions to exist in your life. Like, hey, come on, coach, those TikTok videos are not going to watch themselves, right? Accepting a lower standard in your life. Let's face it, if your house is a mess, if your car is a mess, that's all stuff that's on you. If your bank account is a mess, that's on you. If your relationships are a mess, that's on you. Not rewarding yourself, not allowing yourself any downtime, having a fear of failure or a fear of success. A fear of success is really a fear of loss, right? It's easier to never have something than to have it and to lose it. Having false arrogance that everything is great, even though everything behind you is on fire. This is kind of like lying to yourself, right? Rescuing others. Man, this is one that really hits home for me. And rescuing others shows up where I will go fix someone because, let's face it, I want them to like me, which helps me prop up a low self-esteem. Also think about it, when I'm fixing someone else, I'm not working on what? I'm not working on my own head trash. How about nitpicking or picking fights? Complaining, right? You ever notice that people complain to the wrong person? They go to their job and complain about their spouse, and they go to their spouse to complain about their job. Thinking that I've arrived, that's a big one for me. Gossiping or comparison, both of those things are just mental poison. Tearing yourself down all the time or not taking ownership of things, right? You blame everybody else, you never actually take any personal ownership. Being consistently late or having a bad relationship with time. Flying by the seat of your pants, not following through on commitments, or just having a bad relationship with money. And literally I can go on and on with another 10,000 things that just keep you from hitting your goals and living the life you want. Those are all things that I struggle with, some more than others, but those are all things that I have struggled with. So now that I've completely ruined the mood, what do you do about this, right? What can be done? Well, whether you're a business owner or not, many of us struggle with self-sabotage. And I'm going to offer 3 steps that can help at least set aside some of these things. So let's get started. Step number 1. It's important that you create a crystal clear personal vision and business vision. Step 1 is to sit down and get really quiet about what you're doing all of this for in the first place. That's right. If you've watched my videos before, you know I'm going to go back to your personal vision because that's just the main circuit breaker. Everything hinges on that. If your personal vision is not clear, if it is not written down, if it is not something that you review every single day, I'm telling you it's going to be hard to address all this busyness in your life when you're really not clear on what you're doing it all for in the first place. So here is where the wheels usually come off the wagon, and that's in the distinction between a personal vision and a business vision. Think of this in terms of a primary question. A personal vision will ask, where do you want to go? I mean, specifically, where do you want to go in life? The business vision, on the other hand, is going to ask, how are we going to get there? For most business owners, the business vision piece is usually the easiest. The personal vision, that's really where they tend to struggle. Now, because this is hard, and for some reason it's really hard, like it was for me, I just opted to skip the personal vision altogether and just focused on the business vision, okay? But here's the problem. When you create a business vision before you create a personal vision, you end up creating a life that exists to serve the business. And that's a life that really kind of sucks. Now, I'm not 100% sure why that is, that business owners struggle with coming up with their personal vision when the business vision comes so easy. I think part of it might just be habit. I think part of it, I know at least for me, was having a low self-worth, that, I didn't deserve to have a great life but boy, I do deserve to work like a slave for my business. But I think another part of it is that they're just hiding. I know for me, again, several years ago when my marriage was a disaster, I used my business to hide from facing the reality of the work that I really needed to do at home. We're going to come back to that here in a bit. But for right now, it's really important that you start paying attention to the self-sabotaging behaviors that you're engaging in every single day. Sabotaging behaviors, like I mentioned earlier, like hiding, procrastination, like having a bad relationship with money, having a bad relationship with time. And you can use the list that I started with at the beginning, or you can come up with a list on your own. I've worked with hundreds of business owners, and the few who take me up on the challenge of getting really clear on their personal vision are the ones who start to see the most amount of traction, not just in their businesses, but in their personal lives as well. The problem is it's not instantaneous. Getting clear on your personal vision is often one of the most challenging things a business owner can do, but I will tell you it is the most productive. Look, I can hear the excuses that I know that I would use, right? Man, I don't have time to plan. I'm just going to go do. I'm going to go take massive action. Well, you can go take massive action running around in circles, but that's not going to get you where you really want to go. Think about it. How well is that working out for you? If it's working out well for you, great. Stay the course. But I suspect if you're still watching this video, there might be some truth to the fact that it's not going as well as you'd like, and you'd like to change that. To start on defining your personal vision, start by simply thinking of what you'd want your day-to-day life to look like if you didn't have to worry about income generation. Sure, maybe you'd still like to work and be productive. I know that I do, that's part of my vision. I love what I do, and I'm thankful that I get to do it every single day. Look, there's more to unpack with a personal vision and business vision, but for right now, let's at least get some clarity about where it is you want to go in your personal life and in your business. My clients who work with me get a full personal vision roadmap, which takes quite a bit of time to go through. But for the sake of time, let me give you some questions just to get you started. If you'd like this and a list of the self-sabotaging behaviors that I listed earlier and some other tools that I put together as a free download, there's going to be a link in the description, so you can check on that here in a bit. Let's get to some personal vision questions. Number 1, what are some things that you look forward to doing? Number 2, what things would you like to be remembered for at the end of your life? Number 3, what would the life look like that you really want to live, and not the life that others are expecting you to live? Number 4, what would you attempt to do in your personal life if you knew you couldn't fail? And number 5, answer this question. I know I'm being successful when. So if you're looking at your business vision, I want you to think of questions such as this. Number 1, where do you imagine your business will be 3 years from today? Think RPM, revenues, profits, and metrics. Number 2, think of where your business will be in 12 months from today. Again, think RPM, revenues, profits, and metrics. Number 3, finally, I want you to think of your 3 C's of business vision. Those 3 C's will help determine the culture and the purpose of your business. Those 3 C's are core purpose, core values, and client avatar. Core purpose is specifically what business that you're in, and it also involves your core offer. Your core values is specifically what the business stands for and values. Think of it this way. Think of how would the world be worse off if your business didn't exist? And last, how would your client avatar be defined? Your client avatar is specifically who you want to work with. Like I said, I'll put these questions and a few others in the link in the description so you can take the time to get quiet and work through all of these things. Before we move on to step number 2, remember, this is about learning to set aside self-sabotaging behavior. So let's not lose sight of what we're trying to accomplish here, okay? So now that we're refocused, let's take a look at step number 2. Step number 2, look at your activities. With both elements of your vision clear, your personal vision and your business vision, now we're going to look at your activities. You can't change behavior or habits that you're not aware of. So now it's time for some real honesty. Most people struggle with procrastination. I have studied procrastination a ton, and it's not something that is unique to business owners, but it is a problem that all business owners struggle with, and it's one of the main reasons they get held back. I've worked with hundreds of business owners, and I've observed 2 main reasons as to why procrastination shows up. Are there more? Probably, but these are the 2 that I see the most often. Number 1 is a lack of meaning, and number 2 is because they are trying to do something that is a better task for someone else. Let's get into it. Number 1 is a lack of meaning. I'm going to explain this using an analogy from marketing. If I was to sell you a car, I might be tempted to tell you that the car has leather seats. I might tell you that the car has a built-in navigation system. I might tell you that it has 500 horsepower. Now, what's common about all of those things? All of those things are features. but those features may not really mean anything to you. Okay, well, what if I told you that because the car has leather seats, you get to smell the leather every time you get in the car? What if I told you that because the car has a built-in navigation system, you're never going to get lost ever again? What if I told you that because it has 500 horsepower, you can go from 0 to 90 in 5 seconds? Okay, now, what's common about all of those things? All of those things are benefits. But again, those benefits might not mean anything to you either. What's important is that I call this so that. In other words, I want you to give the feature, the benefit, and the so that. So if I say the car has leather seats, which is a feature, you get to smell the leather every time you get in the car, that's the benefit, so that you can feel like you got massive value out of the car and you made the right purchase decision every single time you get in the car, right? The so that is the meaning. So, how about if I told you that the car has 500 horsepower? That's a feature. It goes from 0 to 90 miles an hour in 5 seconds. That's a benefit. So that you can feel super powerful anytime you smash down on the gas and you can take almost any car off the line. That's the meaning. So again, feature, benefit, meaning. The reason I brought up vision first in this whole exercise is because there are elements of your vision which have to have meaning. If you just said you wanted a 3,000 square foot house by the beach, that's a feature. The fact that you can go on the beach anytime you want, that's a benefit. But what's missing? That's right, it's the meaning. It's missing the so that. You want a house on the beach where you can walk on the beach anytime you want, so that you can have meaningful conversations and experiences with your bride or with your guy or with your family or whatever, right? It's the meaning that's going to get you out of bed. It's the meaning that gives all of this emotion. And without the meaning, it's a lot easier for procrastination to rent space in your head. That's the first thing I notice around business owners who struggle with procrastination, is a lack of meaning. The second thing, like I said earlier, is because they are trying to do a task that is often better suited for someone else. This is an amazing point that was made in the book by, it was called Who Not How by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Ben Hardy. That many times as entrepreneurs, we come across an idea while standing in the shower and we immediately think, man, how could I do that? Not, or they might be thinking, how can I make that happen, right? It's very common. I know I do it. But when you think of how, right? Think about it. You're creating a job for yourself. When you're thinking how, you're immediately limiting yourself. When you're thinking how, you're immediately thinking something tactical instead of something strategic. So in addition to creating meaning, start thinking about how you can fire yourself from the job you're not doing and procrastinating on. For example, there are certain things I absolutely love to do as a strategist. I love creating content. I love writing, and I'm working on my next book, The Time Wealthy Advantage. I love doing what I'm doing right now in this very moment, which is teaching and training business owners. Guess what? I don't procrastinate on doing those things. It's part of what I love to do, and it's part of my unique genius ability. I feel it's absolutely part of my purpose to align others with their purpose on why God put them here. So it's time to get really honest with yourself. Are the things you're procrastinating on things that are better for someone else to do? Or are you doing things that are better off for someone else to do, and because you've wasted your best energy on low-impact tasks, you have nothing left in the tank for the truly strategic and impactful things that you should be doing, things that you love to do, the reason you're here? Let me say this more bluntly. Are you wasting time on the unimportant and things that are just simply urgent because they showed up at your door? As a coach and a strategist, look, I don't promise you easy conversation, but I do promise you honesty. If you're sabotaging yourself by doing the things that you really shouldn't be doing, then we really might need to look at some things around mental reprogramming, and that brings us to step number 3. Step number 3 is engaging in mental reprogramming. So let's first review step number 1, which is creating our personal and business vision. Step number 2 is to take a look at your activities. And step number 3 is to engage in reprogramming our mindset to stop the self-sabotaging behavior. If you're thinking this is a lot in one video, you'd be right. Basically, I'm unpacking what I normally cover in a full 2-day workshop. So I truly believe in the power of this, and I want to get this in the hands of as many people as possible who might not ever be able to attend one of those. So how do we engage in changing our mindset? How do we actually stop feeling the way that we're feeling? The overwhelm, the negative money mindsets, the horrible relationship with time, etc., etc. All right, well, let's pull over and park here for a second. If you've watched this video up to this point, again, it's likely that you at least identify with some of the truths that I've said. What I'm about to tell you is a little different, and it's not what you'd expect to hear from a guy who's devoted his life to doing business, certainly not what you'd expect from a Marine, and some of what you're going to hear, you're going to probably think it's a little squishy. Let me just say this. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're truly ready to learn to set that stuff aside, maybe you take a really solid run at what I'm about to suggest. I heard a quote a few years back, and I think it resonated with me so well because it was right around the time I committed to meditating each day. And that quote is, if you want something you've never had, you have to be willing to do something you've never done. I thought I didn't have the time to meditate, and the problem was that it was just a story that I was telling myself. The other issue that I had when I did take the time to meditate was that I sucked at it. What I didn't understand is that sucking at meditation is kind of the point. What meditation did for me is it trained my brain to set aside distractions as they came up and to refocus the task at hand. This is 100% for those of you who, like me, have, say, attention issues. The science there proves the benefits of daily meditation for people with ADHD, primarily inattentive, or ADHD, primarily hyperactive, and those of us rare birds that might have a touch of both, and even of those who may struggle with a similar condition of ADHD called VAST, which is Variable Attention Stimulus Trait. Meditation has been proven to improve the focus and diminish the clutter for everyone who's chosen to engage in it. So here's a super simple 3-step meditation practice that literally anyone can do, and then we're going to land the plane. Step 1, set the environment. Find a quiet place. Don't try to block out the external noise, but find a quiet place where you can be uninterrupted for at least 10 minutes. Put your phone on airplane mode, and then set a timer for your phone for 6 minutes. Step number 2, sit relaxed. Close your eyes. Simply focus on your breathing. In and out. In and out. If you feel the urge to scratch or move, focus back on your breath. Step 3. When you become distracted and start thinking of everything from an old friend in kindergarten to tonight's chicken parm that you still need to buy the ingredients for, and it will happen, don't get frustrated. Instead, give yourself some grace. Recenter, recommit, and focus back on your breath. Do this for the 6 minutes of time that you have, and do this at least once per day. If you can do it twice or 3 times per day, even better. But as you get more comfortable with it, bring it to 10 or even 20 minutes. But don't try to go too far too soon. This will take time for you to get comfortable with. So what does this have to do with the price of Cobb salad? Well, isn't this really about removing self-sabotaging behaviors from my life? I mean, come on, coach. How does this matter to anything? Well, it's a great question. And this is a great first start. Meditation is like cleaning off the whiteboard of all of your previous notes before you start working on something new. I like to meditate before engaging in recorded affirmations and visualization exercises. Both of those things are massively powerful, but beyond the scope of this video for right now. I really feel like it helps me calm down and be far more receptive to conditioning. Engaging in meditation also teaches me that when distractions come up in my life, like real world distractions and not just thinking about the ingredients to chicken parm, I can set aside those distractions much better and stay focused on the tasks in alignment with my vision. Again, if you'd like the download to help you through all this, be sure to check the link in the description. If you think you need more help than just the download, you can head over to markdolfini.com and book a discovery session for 100% free. It is not a sales call, but I will see that what I can do for you and get you sorted out and on track right away. I hope you found this to be helpful. Again, if you thought it was helpful for you and you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, and like this type of content, please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and of course, we'll see you next time.